Let's get into it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's episode 518, and I got high energy, but believe me, I'm very scared right now because we're moving closer and closer to a cashless society. Joe Rogan and Post Malone are about to talk about it, and a great example that they use is Canada and what happened to the bank accounts of those patriots over there who had their bank accounts frozen because of what they decided to donate to. Terrible. Then we have the example of the new technology that Amazon has implemented into Whole Foods, which is in the US already. It's in the US already, and you can already pay with your palm. Steps closer to a cashless society. It's not something that we want to happen, because once we have a cashless society, we will start being able to earn money through what we do in terms of work, but we will be penalized through what we do in society. And that's a very bad place to be in. Not that I think everybody watching is going to do something horrible and terrible, but you should be free to use your money as you please and say what you want to say and not have the two be connected. It's not fair to have that happen in society. And we're getting closer and closer. You're going to hear Joe Rogan and Post Malone touch on this. And if you don't know what Amazon One is, you're going to understand it by the end of this episode. Joe's going to talk about it. I'm going to show you some examples of it. And hopefully it's something that's in your mind. And I'll never call for anybody to go and protest anything. But I don't know. If Bud Light took a hit because of what they did with Dylan Mulvaney, I think a company that's inching us closer to a cashless society should have to take some kind of hit as well. That's all I'm saying. Before I show you that, though, got to bring you over to IamCoachColin.com so you can check out my personal favorite t-shirt, Public Enemy #1. If you don't know who that man is, he's someone who supports the cashless society 100% and wants you to eat the bugs. That's the best German accent I can do. And we also have the certified pure blood shirt for those of you that survived the pandemic and came out unscathed and pure in blood, I should say. And also the Great Resist shirts for those of you who know about the Great Reset and know the dangers of it. The Great Resist is where you want to be instead. And of course, the Soul Not For Sale shirt, just to show the powers that be that the thing they want most is not for sale. All of that is available at IamCoachColin.com. And if you want 10% off, no problem. I'm going to give it to you right now. Discount code area, enter in I am Coach Colin, and that gets you 10% off. It's all capital letters. It's all one word. There's one L in the name Colin, and that gets you 10% off. And if you've done that at our site already, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are much appreciated. Now let's get into this clip.
As the world becomes more globally oriented and realizing that there's just people. There's people in India, there's just people in China, there's people in Russia. The problem is who they're led by. And when they lead you into this position and control the population to a position where they can't do anything other than the will of the leaders. Yeah, I'll take one. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's where, that seems like the only positive direction that I see moving forward is that people think about the world as one place now more. Instead of I don't think people are as nationally centric as they used to be. We're paying attention to shit that's going on in Australia. We're paying attention to shit that's going on in Hong Kong. People are really paying attention to the world now that I don't think they did as much in the 1950s or the 1960s. I think with the internet, I think people are very tuned in to all kinds of weird shit that's happening everywhere.
And that's an interesting thing because I don't know. Would you ever consider living in another country?
I would have said Canada up until recently. Now Canada's fucking falling apart. All the shit that they did during COVID was just the total wrong direction. The trucker convoy when they froze people's bank assets.
You can't make honking your horns illegal.
Bro, they froze people's bank accounts that donated money to the convoy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And what's
peaceful protest, which everybody's supposed to be all about.
Right.
These people that were protesting COVID vaccine mandates and
right.
the lockdowns, and they they fucking went after the people that donated, which is crazy.
Yeah. And you can track all that shit. And
Yeah.
they track everything.
They shut their bank accounts down.
That's
man.
crazy, man.
That's-
you can't
but-
buy fucking a piece of toast.
That makes people self-censor. And that's the terrifying aspect of that. And that's the thing that people won't say it's not that big of a deal. They gave them their bank accounts back eventually. Look, that's sending a very...
Eventually? What does that even fucking mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's sending a very clear message that they can fuck with you in ways that you probably hadn't thought about before. They can fuck with your money. They can close your bank
Never
down.
even thought about it.
Never thought about it.
Never even
before.
thought about it.
Yeah.
And
They can close your bank down.
so how do you feel about the government's digital currency that they're working on?
No fucking way. No way. That's what I think. I think that's checkmate. That's game over.
That is fucking checkmate.
Because if they apply that to a social credit score, if they decide somehow or another that you need some social credit score system and it's for the benefit of society, and they outline that they can, track your behavior and your tweets and all your things, and you get a score. And if the
already
scores,
doing that, they just haven't released the fucking report cards.
Well, they don't have the kind of freedom that they like.
They didn't send the report cards home to the parents yet.
Right.
Everything is already imprinted. Everything is already tracked. Everything is already there.
But
We
they
just
can't,
haven't given a
They just can't
denomination
control
to it.
you to the same extent that they would like. And what they would like to do is to be able to strip you of your money and to be able to lock you down and then make sure that you comply so that all the other people also comply because they don't want to be stripped of their money. They don't want everything they work for just be taken away instantly overnight and be powerless. No one to call. No one's going to answer your phone. They just decided you fucked up and the rules are the rules. And so then where does that money go? Who takes your money? Who takes... And that's what things... When people start profiting off of confiscating people's digital currency, it's going to be a real fucking problem.
Well, it's not all fucking currency is digital.
Yeah, but the idea of them controlling all of the money.
And it's all unilateral.
Yeah.
It's all the same fucking thing.
It's all the same fucking thing.
That's a problem. And here's the problem, I think, is that people are going to do it due to convenience of it.
Yeah.
No one wants to carry around cash anymore. Cash is gone.
Yeah.
No one wants to carry around cash anymore.
I saw a video of a lady paying for her groceries with her fingerprint at Whole Foods.
Can I see this?
Yeah.
Jamie,
she used her
please.
handprint.
You can do it here.
You can do it here?
Yeah.
You got it?
Wait, Amazon controls it.
With your
Controls Whole
hand?
Foods. Yeah,
With your
I've seen it
handprint.
at the cash out here. I didn't do it.
You just walk up, your hand hovers over this thing, it takes a photo of your hand, and you pay.
Why? 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 Why?
People want their handprint in a database just in case they murder somebody. They want
This
the government
is
to be able to find them.
crazy. This
Yeah.
is crazy.
One scan does it all. Amazon One simplifies everyday interactions.
You-
It's a free contactless service that lets you use your palm to pay, enter, or identify yourself.
Wow. You remember it was
Identify yourself.
microchips.
Yeah.
So now you don't even need a fucking microchip.
No,
you
you
can
use
just
your
fucking
eyeball.
use your just fucking
They
you
had
can
a
use your
s-
pube hairs.
They had a store in Ohio where you don't. I don't think you leave with stuff, but you just tell them what you want, and then they just send it to you.
I
Like Amazon store.
Well, now they have like honor system stuff in airports and stuff.
Really?
Where it's like you go and you pick up what you get and then you leave the money. You
Really?
swipe your card, all this shit. There's no employees in the whole store.
That's crazy.
It's a little kiosk. You go pick up your chips, you pick up your drink, you pick up
They're
whatever
just
you
hoping
get.
people don't steal.
Your sandwich? Yep.
Wow. That seems like it's not going to work out.
I don't know. I don't know how these are working.
Probably better to pay someone $15 an hour.
Man, so the first thing is all of that's crazy, right? And it shows. I like how, and again, Post Malone was kind of leading that part of the conversation, right? He knew to mention another place. Like, I don't know. He's more into this stuff than he likes to lead on, or more than he's allowed to lead on. Now, Canada is a great example because they shut the bank accounts down. But what people still could have done, not after their bank accounts were frozen, but what they could still do is take out money. Those people, those 200-300 people who had that done to them, they could take out all their money because they're traumatized after that and just use their cash. You see, that's why, like, people keep asking, why would they go cashless? Why is it a big problem? Well, it's because imagine a frozen bank account. Imagine it goes a step further and you can't enter Whole Foods. Because that's what's going to happen. If you don't have an Amazon One, you're not going to be able to enter Whole Foods. And right now, that sounds ridiculous because it's just coming out and they're not going to do that right away. But in 6 months, a year, it'll be just that. it'll start off as just offering you Amazon One. Then it'll start off as, letting you enter for now. And then it will become you cannot enter. The thing about it is, Klaus Schwab has mentioned before that businesses have something called innovation power. That's what he calls it. Very smart guy. He calls it innovation power, right? And then months later, we see Larry Fink talk about how companies need to force behaviors in something called the ESG scores. Now, with those two things put together, they're forcing a behavior right now. And again, it's only Whole Foods. But when one company innovates and it ends up making things more convenient and giving them more control, the other companies are going to follow. At least 1, 2, 3 other companies are going to follow. And how many companies need to follow until it really impacts your life? It only needs to be 3 other big chains that implement the same thing. And now all of a sudden your life is impacted drastically. I don't know, man. It's funny that someone like Dylan Mulvaney will really hit a chord with people and like people acted like that. But with something like this, I haven't heard anything. Like the articles that I've read are all from early July, and myself included. I didn't know about this. I knew about Dylan Mulvaney, but I didn't know about this at all. I've not heard about this. It's a real danger. Now, one thing that Joe said at the beginning that I'll mention as I'm pulling up the next clip, because I want to show you guys an example of someone paying like this, is he said, it's good that the we're becoming more global. And Elon Musk actually touched on this. And he said, you don't want too much cooperation between nations, because then it becomes like a one world government kind of thing. And also the problem with that is, Joe mentioned Australia. If you're focused on what's going on in Australia, then you're not focusing on the fact that Amazon One is about to roll this out to 500 locations throughout the United States. Like, you need to focus locally. You need to focus on what's going on in your state, the country. You really need to focus there. And if every country does that, you'll be able to keep checks and balances on those who are in power. If people in Canada are focused on what's going on in South Africa, and people in the US are focused on what's going on in South Africa and what's going on in Australia and what's going on in New Zealand, you're not focusing where the things are actually going to impact you drastically. Just saying. So that's a problem with that. And then Post Malone also says it's already here. The postcards have not been mailed out yet. It's kind of true, Nobody really tells you when you get when anything happens. No one tells you when you're put on a list. No one tells you, George Carlin, for example, comedian. It's said that the FBI had a file on him. No one talks about that. Like, no one told him that, right? It just came out later on, So it's like there was a report card made for him, but it never got sent to him to let him know, like, hey, this is where we think you're messing up and this is what you need to stop doing. As far as we know. Now let's check out this clip. It's a woman who's paying with the Amazon One. It's called The Power of Palm, I believe. Let's check this out. I have it silent here just because they got some music playing. So she just holds her hand over this device. It's working. Boom. It pays. And she is so happy about this. And that's the thing. A lot of people are going to end up being happy about this type of thing because it's so novel. It's going to be such a fun thing. It's going to be like, wow, I just put my hand over. Man, not everything that's novel is good. You know what I mean? Just saying. Here's another clip. Let me just shrink this a little bit. Here's another clip of another person paying the same way. Let's check this out.
You can pay for things here with your palm.
With your hand.
With your hand.
Living in the future. Oh my God. Palm.
That's so sick. So we're done shopping and you just scan?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's paying?
Yeah, and then we buy it. I don't know how it knows what we bought.
I feel like we stole.
The power of your palm.
I love how the guy laughs. He laughs when like she has to enter with her palm. He's like, oh, wow. What if that was the only place you could get food and you don't have that technology? It's really bad, guys. And then I'll show you one more example. This is with the old school stuff. You know, that old school, implant inside of your hand. You know that old school stuff. Here you go.
Okay.
77 pound 3 pence, yeah?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Okay. Doesn't work. Oh, there we go.
How do you do it?
Magic.
Huh?
Magic.
No, it's just magic. It's fine. It's fine. It's just magic. Well, those are the examples there. You know, cashless society. It's a real problem. And you know, something that Post Malone said just before I wrap it up, he said, oh man, you know, they shut down the bank accounts, couldn't even buy a piece of toast. And it's funny the way that he framed it, but that's actually true. And, you know, saying a piece of toast is funny, but think about if that had went on longer. Let's say somebody who donated to that convoy, what if they had to buy food that day? And then their bank account didn't get unfrozen until 4 days later. So they couldn't buy any food for 4 days? All because they gave to what they felt was a noble cause? But then the people in power felt that that wasn't a noble cause? So for 4 days you had to go into a fast? And if you had a small kid, they could possibly go into starvation? When we go cashless, it doesn't have to be a bank account being frozen. It could just be everything from entering a place to leaving a place to buying food to buying gas. Just everything just stops. And Amazon is bringing us one step closer. Again, that technology is called Amazon One. Amazon One. I do not know why they are not being treated like the new Bud Light, but hopefully that kicks in. Anyways, guys, like the video if you haven't liked it already. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And other than that, I am out.